Hey, Michael, Vsauce here. This is Kazakhstan versus Peru. We were supposed at least to have this match on the A stream. However, the B stream will have to be used as currently we have Sweden versus Philippines going overtime as Philippines is currently on track for a reverse sweep. So instead, you'll be having me and this one guy, the previous caster for the B stream match right before this, on the B stream instead. So hi Aaron, welcome back.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, we're just chilling on B stream. I'm hard stuck B stream. It's cool. We get to hang out. So yeah, long match Philippines Sweden. Lots of interesting things happening there. Kazakhstan Peru. This is match 4 in the group, and it's a very interesting one. Peru in the 20 commentator match last week defeated Portugal in a pretty surprising upset, and so both these teams are 1-0, and so that makes this match kind of have implications for like who's going to likely end up winning the group, right? Like or at least getting out. Being 2-0 is a big advantage, so one of these teams is going to be coming out of this in a pretty good spot to advance into the main bracket losers side.
Yeah. Oddly, if you're Portuguese, you're looking at this match and hoping whoever loses beats Ukraine. And then whoever wins also beats Ukraine? Question mark? Hold on. Again, it's early.
There's like scenarios.
No, you're hoping Ukraine goes 1-2, and whoever loses here goes 1-2 as well. Okay, yeah, no, clear.
You in a perfect world, you just go 3-0, and then you don't have to worry about anything, right? Like that's just kind of how it goes. You just want to go 3-0, and then you don't have to worry about anything else happening anywhere in the group. You just go through as the top seed out of the group.
And both these teams are on track. Both these teams are 1-0 currently, so if they win, they're qualified. I'm pretty sure. No, they're not.
2-0 doesn't guarantee you through because you can still have the three-way 2-1, and obviously with 2 more matches still, like all the point differential stuff is a lot of math to try to do this early on. But 2-0 is just a good spot to be in. Like if we had like the AWS percentages, I think it would give us a pretty good odds of going through groups starting 2-0. Especially if the winner of this match wins it by a lot to really buff their point differential. So we will see.
All you need to know is that winning is good, losing is generally bad. So try to win as much as possible.
Don't not win.
Very early bans coming on here. Kazakhstan banning the DT2, a little bit surprising considering like a couple of their best players are very speedy, but maybe just not having that 4-man lineup. Meanwhile, Peru banning that Fremont 2. That's incorrect. That's the opposite, I think.
Yeah, it's Kazakhstan Fremont 2.
Yeah. And
Peru DT2.
Yeah, the colors are swapped for the bans, I believe. But anyway, Kazakhstan being the heavy favorite, being one of the top seeds of this lower group, for lack of a better word, and Peru being a heavy underdog but performing admirably versus Portugal last time around, winning 5-3 on the 20 commentator match, which famously had honey. So obviously Kazakhstan a little bit of a heavy favorite here. Meanwhile, Peru looking to surprise once again. Obviously, both teams, they have one very, very recognizable player. Peru will have Arnold, and Kazakhstan will have Kamenchik, both very, very good players in their own right. But the supporting cast for Kazakhstan is a little bit better, having the likes of, I believe, Zima, Ravexi, etc. Just overall good players. Meanwhile, the supporting cast of Peru is a little bit less recognizable. They have I believe, Pra. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's Pra and like
and K-Trick. I don't know how
Yeah.
you actually are supposed to pronounce that name. I'm sorry, but their captain. Interestingly, last week Arnold and Kamenchik were next to each other in the performance score standings, like literally numbers 3 and 4. Just really, really good performances from both of them. Next highest Peru was Sape. What a name that is. Sape. I guess. Yeah, as I'm realizing that this is a like Hispanic, so Sape. Down in 37th was their next highest. That is a lot of participation. That is 8 out of 8 maps that he played. So, it feels like it's just going to require some heroics again for Peru out of Arnold in all likelihood. Like, that's kind of how it goes for their team, right? You just need your best player to be on his game every match, which is what they got last time. And we'll see if Lightning can strike twice.
Yeah, I mean, on a map like this, it would be the kind of map that a lot of teams have been exploiting on this, like, contender group pack, where essentially, like, some of the teams don't really have this 4-man lineup for this kind of thing. So a lot of the teams that do and have, especially like a player or 2 players or like pretty consistent FCs on it, they have been picking this number 1 in the match and then just having a good time, having a pretty easy pick. And I think Peru banning that DT2 will indicate towards Kazakhstan that this kind of map is not like in Peru's favor, and so this seems like a pretty easy pick. Let's see if we're proven wrong, but so far this kind of mechanic has happened a couple times in these lower matches, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens here too.
Yeah, notably, I mean, Peru did play this in their first match, and they did win it, but not with like super impressive scores. They didn't have any FCs. Their team score was 2.3 million. So as Kazakhstan, you're just anticipating a better team score than 2.3 million, and I think that's a pretty safe for a team that has a relatively solid tapping roster. And away we go, and you can already see a couple breaks there from Peru, Gardevoir and Foka in the early goings. Going to be the first couple of players to fall. And Kazakhstan, 100k lead already in the first 400 combat.
Couple misses for both teams, both Gardevoir and Ternafis trading breaks there, but still 3 FCs towards Kazakhstan, and still 2 FCs towards Peru. However, a little bit of that lower accuracy, especially on Foka, which will get that break and will send the lead right over to Kazakhstan as Ternafis is getting a bit of a recovery combo. Gardevoir once again having a break, and despite the 2 FCs from Sape and Arnold, Kazakhstan looks to be decisively in the lead on this match. Kamenchik fighting a cider break move, so not quite 100% smooth sailing, but still should be safe.
Man, I feel like Kamenchik should be FCing this type of map like 100 times out of 100, but you know, slider breaks happen. And yeah, they've still got a 400k lead, and their lead's actually still growing, so I think as expected, especially with that Arnold break, I suppose, as expected, a really, really solid first pick here for Kazakhstan. Fortunately for Peru, not really anything else like this in the pool to worry about. Once you ban out the DT2, this is the only other speedy tapping map there is. So you're like saying, okay, we're going to lose one of these, and then the rest of the match will play out from there. Doesn't matter what kind of team score the other side might put up. Doesn't matter what kind of team score we may or may not put up. It's just going to be done with, and then we move on into other types of skill sets.
Sape had like 2 breaks that were Bancho, and then a real break at the end. Just a funny little side effect of a couple of the kick sliders in these sections. And also just like overall like Peruvian internet in a way, because like it's, I think, one of the points in the globe that's farther away from the actual like banter server. So interesting, like I think Brazil, Peru, Chile, Argentina all have this kind of effect on Tourney Client, especially on like the more like Buzzlighter or Kickstarter sections. But Kazakhstan confirming their pick. Interesting. Not quite the smoothest sailing, but once again, just did enough. Peru really didn't have that like 4-man lineup. Gardevoir a little bit struggling with the map there. Meanwhile, Peru probably gonna head towards the hidden picks, if I had to guess, because everyone's going hidden in that country, especially their best players. Gardevoir, Pra, Arnold, all pretty decent hidden players, especially Arnold. Famously, like, one of the best hidden and, like, old map and DT players in the world, but obviously DT can't really be abused here, as we just saw. So, let's see what they opt to go for. Could also go for something like Chocolate Disco, try to get Kazakhstan there, but that would require them to have practiced that map extensively.
I'll say I do think there's a world where they could go like a No Mod 3 Hidden 2 type of thing. I think...
Okay, that's like a sideways, like...
Side quest?
Yeah, like a sideways, like, option to when, like, you're considering like something like No Mod 3, because it is a little bit more standard than No Mod 3, obviously less gimmicky, but it's still not a full-on mechanics map, which I think you're not looking forwards to if you're playing against Kazakhstan, because obviously it's very it's a very mechanics-heavy country.
Yeah,
so,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think, yeah, the Peru pick strategy is just like anything that's Giga, not mechanics, and whatever, like, Arnold plus one, maybe two other players feel good on. Like last week, they got some really good scores on like DT3, for instance, as well as Free Mod 1. And even, I think they got a good score on No Mod 5 as well, right? So it's just those kind of non-traditional maps. If you win the No Mod 4 here, you can look at that Free Mod 1, right? You have, the couple of techie picks in the pool, and then from there, maybe you do go, like the Hidden 2 or the No Mod 3 again, just veer as far away from raw mechanics as you can, pick niche, pick gimmicky skill sets, and just say, we're not going to let you guys play the straightforward maps that we feel you're strongest on. And we're going to try to pick stuff that maybe can be solo carried because we have what we feel is the best player in this lobby on his day, which is Arnold. And some backing scores can be very good from guys like Sape and from Pra. So very curious to see how the No Mod 4 goes, basically, because if Peru can get a big advantage on these non-mechanics picks, I think that pick strategy will end up being what they go for. And it'll make things a little more interesting for Kazakhstan as well, because there just aren't a ton of raw mechanics picks in this pool.
Yeah, I mean, and the ones that did exist got banned by both teams, so... Also, if you're coming over from the Osu Live stream that just, I believe, rated us, congratulations, Sweden, on that 5-3 victory. But right now, the match has just started. This is Kazakhstan versus Peru, one of the contender groups. Both teams are 1-0 currently, and Kazakhstan is 1-0 in this match, as they just won No Mod 2. So just catching you up there. And this is Peru's pick, No Mod 4. An interesting pick to try and exploit maybe Kazakhstan's, like, a little bit of a weakness in, like, this sort of, like, techier, gimmickier side of the pool. And so far so good, as Zima finding the first break in the map. And Vexy soon to follow.
Accuracy not doing anybody any favors in the early goings here. The 95s and 94s strewn about the lobby. But that combo game gonna start helping Peru here. Up to 80k score in their favor, just about a third through. Shoutouts to this pool, having a lot of relatively short maps, a lot of stuff that's like 2.5 minutes long, I think is really nice for group stage where there's just a ton of matches and every team has 3. So keeping them a little bit shorter and keeping the maps a little more intense individually, I think was a really cool direction to go in. I'm a big fan. And the 4-way's still alive for Peru, halfway through, 140k lead.
Both Fremont 3 and Nomad 1 are the longer picks in the pool, and they're the lowest like participation, like contest rate of any picks. Zima finding a couple more breaks will not favor the side of Kazakhstan, and Peru just kind of running away with this. Still 3 FCs.
Is
Very
it
nice
4?
stuff from them. Or 4, sorry. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. No, I was just double checking. Did I miss a break?
I can count. I swear.
They're putting together a really good team score. Late Cernafis break, Zima breaking again. I mean, Kamenchik is like doing his job right. Revexi's recovered pretty well, but how do you compete against a 4-way? Well, you kind of just don't, unfortunately. And shoutouts Arnold as well, 98.4 AC, best in the lobby by a pretty decent margin there. This is a really, really good Peru score. See if they can keep it up into the last moments. 1,000 combo on all 4. FCs on all 4. Will they make it through this difficult ending pattern? Some crazy sliders to hit. And it is yet to be a single break. Into the very ending we come. Can they pull it off? They do. That is a 4-way FC.
Extremely nice stuff.
From Team Peru, of all people, the 39th seed. 2 teams away from not even qualifying at all. And they just 4-wayed. Yeah, those scores don't look great because of the accuracy, but that's a 4-way FC. That's really, really impressive.
I just want to congratulate everybody on Peru, because to be a 39th seed and then getting this kind of score, even if it's a group stage pool, is extremely impressive. So congratulations to everybody that's in that roster, but also congratulations to Migis. I think with the amount of slider ends missed, one could be a little bit forgiven in thinking that that wasn't an FC, but that was an FC of just the primo cheese. Extremely just slider head gaming, no slider ends. I will try to combo the map no matter what it takes. And very nice Peruvian score there.
And that's why this team can be scary despite their low seed. I mean, you show up on some of these non-traditional maps, right? And you put up a team score like that, you can beat anybody with a 4-way FC, right? Like, you're not going to lose that map too often with that kind of team performance. So even though 3 of the scores were around 850k for the FCs, that's still a 3.4, almost 3.5 mil team score. So interestingly enough, it looks like Kazakhstan's going to be the ones opting into some reading here. It's going to be the Nomad 3 pick from that side, despite us expecting it to come out of Peru.
Interesting. It's first of all, chocolate disco, chocolate.
Thank you.
Disco, the 3rd longest map in the pool, and this time one of the most contested ones. So you've heard it, you love it, you hate it, you hear it.
You love to hate it. You love to hate it, or hate to love it. Who knows?
Perhaps, but or perhaps singular. But yeah, Kazakhstan going from extremely mechanics-heavy map, which is Nomachu, and obviously trying to speed abuse to get that first point on the board, going straight to probably the most like opposite map in the pool, polar opposite of speed mechanics abuse, just a 120 BPM like 4-star AR7 map, all like overlaps, like small snaps. Like I don't know the pick strategy, but like it's an interesting like approach to the match for sure.
Yeah, you know, you first pick the Nomad 2, there's not really anything else in the pool like it. So obviously your pick strategy coming into the match has to just be assuming that you're only going to get one tapping map regardless. And from there on out, it's going to be something completely different. Yeah. I think... So here's the question, right? With this type of map, is this more of a team score map or is this more of a solo carry map? especially in the lower side of the bracket, right, in the contenders rather than the challengers groups. I almost feel like this is like solo carryable, right? If you have one person who's super confident in getting, if not an FC, at least very near, then it becomes an eminently pickable sort of map.
It's both solo carryable and also like team scoreable. It depends on the magnitude of scores that the lobby has, because I think we've had this kind of like dichotomy where some matches are like, oh, you have 2 FCs and then like a 700k, like a 500k, and some matches you have like 700k top score in the entire lobby. So I don't know. Let's find out.
I love finding things out. Also, has there ever been a Newton map where the starting adequately reflected the difficulty? Has he ever mapped anything where that was the case?
He's mapped normal things, but he's not famous for that.
Yeah. Uragurarete? Anybody? Newton, famous reading mapper. So, I'm curious to see now. So switch up skill sets a little bit for the Kazakhstan pick. What kind of performances will we see? I don't know. Who do we think who's like... I don't know. I just want to let it play out, I guess. Sape gonna be the early break. First miss of anyone. Kazakhstan early advantage of a small amount.
Looking towards the accuracies, you see a bit of the comfort level towards this kind of reading pick, and Pra and Migi's not having the best of accuracies, so maybe a little bit of an indicator there. However, it will be Migi's and Revexi trading on the exact same pattern, I believe. Both misreading on an overlap, so it'll be pretty even at the start here. Only the miss on Sape really being the difference. Migi's will find another break. This will start opening up the map for Kazakhstan, as they still hold 3 FCs, but so far so good for both Arnold and Pra, despite Pra's accuracy, so still in reach.
It's in reach, as you said. It is one of the longer maps in the pool, so there is just more margin. Lead staying at about 120k for the moment. 3-way FC though for Kazakhstan, and the recovery for Revexi. Gonna start to pull that lead a little bit bigger. Do we watch Arnold? Do we watch Pra? As you mentioned, Pra not looking super comfortable when you point out his accuracy down at 96%, but FC still intact is the important part, and of course Sape with the solid recovery himself. So this is gonna stay kind of in touch, but Peru, is gonna need a little bit of help, which Revexi breaking gives them a little bit of help, but not as much help as they really want. One of those FCs breaking would be big for Peru, especially with Migi's trading back. And Kazakhstan just gonna hold on here, right? 200k, about 2/3 of the way through. All 3 FCs looking solid. 299 axe and a high 98. They are comfortable.
This is a map where, like, there's not really a big reading spike. There's obviously, like, these kind of overlap transitions that come up every now and then. But if you see, like, a pattern emerging at the start of the map, it usually continues for the rest of it. Pra finding a miss there and having a lot lower accuracy than he had before. A little bit counter trend in that particular regard, but Kazakhstan does seem to be pretty stable, all except Revexi, and Revexi still not having like the worst of scores. The kind of adjacent box there with Revexi and Migi's having a little bit of a bigger struggle than the rest, but obviously the rest of Kazakhstan doing their due diligence, doing their homework, practicing this map, and being quite consistent.
Consistency very impressive from Kazakhstan. You've got Kamenchik, Chernafis, and Shiumi all bringing FCs into the very ending. Last couple patterns here to pull off the 3-way, and they do it. So we're just seeing good team scores here in this match, man. Kazakhstan putting up good team scores on Nomad 2 and 3. Peru putting up the good team score on Nomad 4. And early stages of this match. Both teams looking good on their first couple picks here.
Cheese alert! Cheese alert! Cheese alert! El Niño Rata Bra with 91% A rank. It's an F, not FC, but
I was saying he missed anyway, right?
break. No, it's
Yeah,
a
he
cider
cider
break.
broke. Yeah.
So 91.91, but still 0 misses.
Zero miss A rank.
Impressive in its own regard.
0 miss A rank, my beloved. That is a sight to behold. And now what's interesting about this match is we kind of forecasted that Peru would be the ones picking non-mechanics, maybe some reading, maybe some tech, things like that. Kazakhstan has said, hang on, guys. We can pick into that skill set and do well on it ourselves. Peru looked very good, obviously, on the Nomad 4. Maybe the free mod 1 comes into play here as the other kind of tech map in the pool. Other than that, it gets a little interesting because the hidden 2 Nomad 3 that we expected maybe Peru to go into, well, now Kazakhstan's taken the Nomad 3, and we'll see what becomes of the hidden pool, if anything. So the pick strategy may be differentiating a little bit from expectations here.
Perhaps. I still would expect Peru to go towards one of those hidden picks eventually. Especially that hidden 1, I think, is a pretty decent shout, considering I think in this match, in general, they're more favored towards this kind of hidden archetype of map, where it's like not 100% mechanics. And considering they won Nomad 4, which is also a techie sort of endeavor, would mean hidden 1 would be probably a good pick. And
there you go.
There it is.
Look at that. Well done.
The logic tracks.
I love one logic tracks. If you win Nomad 4 and hidden 1, do you then pick free mod 1? I'm just stuck on the free mod 1 because they got a good score on it in week 1. I guess we'll see. We'll see when we see. So hidden 1, swing tech, but with kind of a lot of different things going on, right? Got a little of that aim control aspect to it, a little bit of changing. Yeah.
It's a lot of things. A lot of things in that. Kind of an interesting kind of like hidden 1. I think a lot of maps kind of have this on hidden 1 kind of have this like light tech aspect.
We all love light tech. How many types of tech are there? There's circle tech, there's slider tech, there's speed tech, there's light tech. Is there dark tech? Swing tech? Reading tech? Alt tech? I'd say aim tech, but that kind of usually gets encompassed by slider tech. Like, anything can be tech if you really think about it. At the end of the day.
Yeah,
any type of map. Dark tech.
Dark tech is an interesting concept. Maybe we should make that. Where, like, half of the circles are just black combo color. And,
was it?
You can't really see it.
When was it? Last year or 2 years ago when you had that clip of, I think it was Kama, with just no approach circles and no hit circles on the stream?
Yeah.
It was just ultimate hidden. Maybe that's dark tech. Maybe that's dark tech.
Actually, like, those maps are in the pool. You just can't see them because they're, like, super hidden.
They're invisible.
Completely invisible in the pulling sheet.
They're hidden too well. All right, so in we're going to go here, map number 4, Peru's second pick. It's going to be hidden 1, as mentioned. It's tech, but it encompasses a lot of things. And they will try to tie the match up at 2 apiece. No early break points or anything as of yet. Kamenchik, Ternafis, Zima, and Shiumi, but it's a U against Arnold, Sape, Migis, and Pra, and that is a just missed burst from Migis and then a big act drop from Migis. He's gonna fall pretty far behind on the intro, as do Sape and Zima himself. That's what that intro does to you. You drop your act. If you drop one, if you drop like 100, you're just dropping 10 hundreds. It's just how it goes, I feel.
The intro is just like, if you're supposed to eat grass anywhere in the map, that's where you do it. But so far, so good for Kazakhstan, despite the early act drops from Zima and that little early combo break. But Migi's not having the best of accuracies and having that early combo break as well. And Sape also on that 96, I believe, having a couple act drops early on, but so far no other breaks. We've kind of seen this kind of tale of 2 maps where, aside from the very intro, the start of the map is pretty, like, consistently people have been comboing it, and then the second half of the map is where people really have a little bit of a tougher time. So, stable lead for Kazakhstan, but not too big.
And with Zima falling, that lead is no longer going to be stable. Migis has recovered quite well, as just the break in the intro shows. You know, the accuracy is still pretty low for him, but the combo is there. It's only 70 combo behind the FCs, and so the lead will come back the way of Peru given time. A little bit of that rhythm change into the little 1/3 jumps, but everybody hits just fine. And into some little slider tech section here. A bunch of kick sliders and a couple of little awkward flow patterns. Nobody caught out except for Pra, though. And now it's down to 2 FCs on Arnold and Sape. Turnafis, Kamenchik, and Shiyumi all still holding the FCs. And Kazakhstan going to grow the lead a little bit. Zima breaks again, but so does Pra to trade. Just under a quarter of the map left to go. It's a 3-way FC for Kazakhstan. It's a 2-way FC for Peru with a slight combo lead for Kazakhstan by about 70 combo on Shiyumi, on the FCs, I should say, over Migis. And there was Migis again. Turnafis trades, though. Dada, this is staying scary in the very last seconds. It's still under 100k lead.
Very scary. Sape and Arnold need to hold it through. Wants to have a chance over Kamenchik and Shiyumi. Also, Migi's finding another break, not having the best of accuracies, is giving that lead over to Kazakhstan, but the map is just ending. There's not enough map for Peru even to think about coming back. So Kazakhstan getting their first break point in the match and opening up with 3-1 lead.
And unfortunate for both Migis and Pra. Interesting that Migis actually ended up having the better score, thanks to his larger combo, despite having 6 misses against 2. But really, the story of that map is going to be Kamenchik pulling off the FC, as well as Shiyumi pulling off the FC, and promptly leaving the lobby before we could even see his score. It was the highest score in the lobby by a bit. Arnold did what he could, right? Sape likewise did what he could, but just the supporting scores, it was really Turnafis, right? I mean, 92k, Turnafis putting up the 835k S rank versus Migis and Pra both getting 650 and 614. Even with Zima getting the lowest score in the lobby, the big backing score of Turnafis in a map that was decided by under 100k, just having that second FC and having the better backing third player did the job for Kazakhstan. And now, their own next pick to come for a possible 4-1 lead if they can consolidate on this break point. After winning the Nomad 3, after winning the Hidden 1, if you are this Kazakh roster, where do you go? What feels most comfortable to try and back up that break point and give yourselves match points the rest of the way through?
I mean, if you take Nomad 3 and you add Hidden, you want to see Hidden 2 perhaps, but I still think Peru will eventually try to go towards that if you give them enough time. So maybe a DT1 would be a good idea. Maybe something like this Hard Rock 1 perhaps, try to out-mechanics people, but they're just going straight Hidden 2. They're just, well, crashing head-on and just trying to take this hidden momentum to Peru. Just beat them with it. So Hidden 2 just immediately after will be a little bit interesting. Obviously, both Kazakhstan and Peru had a little bit of a tougher time on one of their players in that Nomad 3, so maybe that will be the case again. But I think this map is more accessible in general. It's more of a, you know, mechanic-centric reading pick, if you can like kind of picture that, where it's density but nothing too gimmicky in terms of the reading itself. So I think more people should be able to play it, and as such we should probably have a full 4-man lineup for both teams.
And really, looking at the Nomad 3 result, right, Kazakhstan had what is more or less a good 4-man roster. I mean, they had 3 FCs, and the remaining player, yeah, he got 426k under Vexy, but he only had 2 misses, right? So, not like a horrible performance, whereas Peru had maybe some relatively low miscounts, but just fell pretty far behind on the score. I mean, almost 800k the gap, right? 686k, 506k, 405k. Not exactly inspiring confidence in further reading maps in this match. So we'll need to pick it up a little from that performance if they want to get a win here. Looks like we might get a roster change from the Nomad 3 as well for Kazakhstan. It's going to be Zima coming in place of Revexi, who was that lowest score on the Nomad 3. Sape Migis Pra and Arnold were the other two on No Mod 3. I kind of just anticipate that to be the same here. Yeah. So not a lot of changes, really, considering the skill sets. No surprise there either.
I think in general, Peru has been working with like a 6-man roster. They sometimes swap out Migis or Sape Sape for Gardevoir, and
they had Gardevoir and Foka on No Mod 2, right, for the mechanics map. The other maps since then, I believe it's been Arnold, Sape Sape, Migis, and Pra for all three, excuse me, since then. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be the same here. Yeah, six-man roster, mostly 4-man roster. And this is starts to get to important maps quickly once you get that break point in a best of 9. 3-1 lead will become a 4-1 lead for Kazakhstan if they win this, and then it's Peru fighting for their life the rest of the way through the match. So gotta lock in, gotta be set to go, and that's not locking, and that's not being set to go. Migis, Pra, Zima all breaking in the first 100 combo. 3 FCs to 2 early on for Kazakhstan. Make that 2 FCs to 2 as Chernapis is the next to break. So perhaps where you mentioned this one being a little more accessible, maybe that's not going to end up being the case, as we're actually seeing more breaks early on than we did on the No Mod 3.
Maybe it's a case of people getting a little bit used to the AR, especially, I believe, the entirety of the Peru lineup kind of just having to play the map, or play another map right after for a completely different AR. A lot of the Peru lineup being caught out in that transition as well will not make matters any easier for them, as only Arnold holds the combo. Meanwhile, Zima and Xiumi have both broken for Kazakhstan. Janaf is getting a little bit of that recovery combo as well, and Kamenchik still holding that combo. However, Chernapis will miss, probably trade. However, it is that 1v1, the expected 1v1 in this kind of scenario where it's Arnold versus Kamenchik and everyone else is kind of falling apart around it.
And Arnold being a super well-known low AR hidden player, very, very good on this skill set. And Kamenchik, though, showing that he's no slouch either. He's capable of hanging right there with Arnold, as they have identical accuracy, almost identical scores as a result. And the supporting combo does start to grow in favor of Kazakhstan, however. Chernapis and Zima both building up, as is Xiumi, just a little more than their opposition on Migi, Sape Sape, and Pra. 250k or so the score gap. There goes Arnold, there go as well as Migis and Pra, and that's really just going to do it. Under a quarter of the map to go. And FC still on Kamenchik, and the big backing combos held just a bit longer for Kazakhstan before breaking. And this is going to be 4-1 the score after all is said and done. Yes, it's the breaks, but no, it does not matter. Kamenchik bring in the only FC in the lobby here on this pick into the last few moments. This tricky ending, some finger control and sliders can catch people out, but he is holding steady, he is holding strong, and he will bring home the full combo. Kamenchik, very solid stuff there to lead Kazakhstan to their 4th point on the board in this match, and they are now at match point the rest of the way through. A solid team performance, but really the standout score from Kamenchik there, 1 million FC versus nobody else over 600k on his team. Peru just struggled. Unfortunately, there's no real way around it. Just not the scores that they needed on anybody, and Kazakhstan ran away with it.
Impressive stuff, especially from Kamenchik. You usually don't think of him as this kind of reading player, but he's seen both the reading maps in this pool so far. And just pretty good scores overall. Like, a little bit interesting that the scores were lower than Chocolate Disco. Maybe teams, both the teams here having a little bit more practice on that map. I think Coconut Love is just a less practice, more like figure it out in the actual map sort of map. So kind of ended up doing that. But it is match point for Kazakhstan, and they have the pick. They pick DT3, this Chinese alt DT kind of map where you have like very few triples, a lot of alt patterns, not too space, and overall I'd say I wouldn't say this super favors Kazakhstan, because Peru isn't likely to be like speed gapped on this in any way because not really many speed patterns, but Kazakhstan should probably have the better roster for this, mechanics wise, and just in general because they won Hidden One, they won something like a map of a similar BPM, I guess, even though it's a completely different map in Nomad 3. So yeah, they should be a little bit favored, but Peru still has a shot. They still have a chance to claw back this match, but Kazakhstan looking to close this out.
Yeah, match looks really tough at this point for Peru, just based on the kind of skill sets that we've seen. It makes the Nomad 4 almost feel like an anomaly, the way they performed on that versus the way that, everything else has gone. But we did say at the very start, Peru put up a very, very solid score on this map last week in that win over Portugal, right? They put up a 3.6 million team score. Only one FC, but another, greater than million score that broke at the very end on Sape Sape. Pra put up a 900K as well. So really, really good team performance. Definitely something that they can put up another solid score on, I would anticipate. So does feel doable. It feels doable here for Peru. But it's just always going to be difficult in the way that this match is going.
Yeah, when you're losing, you're back up against the wall, facing match point. It's always going to be tough. But we've seen more interesting comebacks, I believe. So maybe Peru will get something going here. Who knows? This would be the map to do it. This is not a map that they have any struggles on. Daldor making their first appearance here in this match for Peru, coming in as opposed to Migis or Gardevoir in that first slot. Meanwhile, for Kazakhstan, all players we've seen before: Zima, Ternafiz, Revexi, and of course Kamenchik. Seeing if they can close this out. As a little bit of an early act struggle for Pra. A little bit of a common theme in this match, but so far so good for everybody.
Honestly, it's axe struggles pretty much everywhere. Other than Arnold, it was a lot of 94, 95, 90, couple 93s even in that intro. It's gonna be Zima. The first break, advantage Peru early, but it's gonna be Daldor and Pra to both miss in response, so that lead's gonna go right back the other way. Kazakhstan has just kind of felt the more consistent team through much of this match, and it's reflected in the scoreline obviously as well. Kamenchik, Ternafis, and Revexi just calm, cool, collected, full combos at the halfway mark here. But the back half does get pretty tricky, right? A lot of these difficult little snappy alt patterns, so plenty of time for this map to go any which way, but Daldor breaking once again is not going to help things for Peru. That lead growing over 130,000 points for Kazakhstan, and it's going to be getting scary as time goes on here, and that lead continues to get bigger and bigger. You're seeing it nearly 200k now, and Kazakhstan have the chance of really running away with this map if they can hold on to the triple FC in the back in combo.
People usually break. Let's see if we find any chain misses for the side of Kazakhstan. Otherwise, this will be done and dusted. Kazakhstan will secure a pick. However, Kamenchik finding a break, but so does Sape Sape. Ternafiz and Revexi still holding the FC, however, will make sure that this lead does not go over to Peru.
Yeah, this one looking, as you said, done and dusted. Kazakhstan just looks strong, man. Double FC still. Finally, Revexi breaks. Chernoff holding into the ending. Will we at least get one full combo from that side? Arnold holding the FC with, I think, 100 for Peru. Has gone a little bit overlooked because the team not doing what it needs to support him. Into the ending we go. That is a crazy score from Arnold. Unfortunately, it does not matter at all as Kazakhstan drops the FC to match near FC on Chernoff just breaking the very end. And the better backing scores from all three other members of that roster. And that's just going to do it. It's 5-1. It's Kazakhstan. No miracle today for Peru the way that we saw last week against Portugal. Instead, they will drop 5-1 at the hands of Kazakhstan, who looked really solid throughout that match on several different skill sets. We saw them on tapping. We saw them on reading. We saw them on the alt DT look really good. And it pushed them to now a 2-0 record in group stage. I believe that's going to be a positive 6-point differential for them as well. Peru goes to 1-1 in the group with a couple matches still to go. Kazakhstan against Ukraine coming up in a little bit. Ukraine then versus Peru later on. But Kazakhstan putting themselves in a really good position to advance out of the group into round of 16 losers. Peru, their road just got a little more challenging. They basically have to beat Ukraine to go through. Depending on, I guess it depends on Kazakhstan, Ukraine. 2 matches left, depends on a lot of stuff. But either way, Kazakhstan putting themselves in the good position is really what you take away from this match.
Yeah, I mean, Kazakhstan did their job very well, and Peru, a little bit outclassed, but still have a fighting chance to go out of this group. So, again, it's too early to tell, and hopefully both these teams have good luck on their next matches, both versus Ukraine. So, yeah, that's it for the B stream for now, I believe. As for the next match of Uruguay and no, it's not. That's it for the B stream for now. Kazakhstan has a match right after.
Yeah, there's back-to-back 2-match blocks. 17, 18, 19 UTC all have 2 matches in them, so it'll be A and B stream for all of those. As you can see, it's Uruguay versus Belgium, Kazakhstan versus Ukraine coming up in 15 minutes or so. Currently, it looks like it's going to be Kazakhstan getting to switch streams. They'll get to be featured over on the A stream in that match against Ukraine, whereas this stream will be seeing Uruguay versus Belgium. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. And this time around, you got a little time in between matches. As mentioned, about 15 minutes. Grab a snack, grab a drink, and while you're doing that, head on over, store.ppy.sh. You know what to do. You go get your banners. You go support your favorite team. It's a great way to support the tournament. It's a great way to support a roster that you have some faith in, or just, just like the players, whatever the case may be. In the meantime,
banners.
Banners.
Banners. Help me out whenever you want to. Banners.
Congratulations to Kazakhstan. Commiserations to Peru. Best of luck to both of these teams in their remaining matches in the group stage. And we'll see you guys in about 15 minutes on the other side of this break as this massive Sunday, the final day in OWC 2025 group stage, continues to roll on. I've been this one guy. He's been Dada. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Consume banners!